back.
I have emerged from behind the mic.
Look at you.
Yeah.
All grown up.
Yeah, exactly. So the AI stuff,
Yeah.
I think I get it. What
Yeah, so today at work, we had our CTO on, and he was talking about it. And he's like, so you have the free AI engine, but he goes, it's really not free because you have the engine that drives it, but then you also have like what creates I forget what they call it. So it's like what Chat GPT is doing, right? So they only go so far back. So they're just saving like what has actually happened. And I think you gave a good analogy of what it's actually doing, because I had a conversation this morning and I was like, well, yeah, but I mean, this thing's like, you think it's smart, but it's a lot of if-then statements.
Correct. It's all pre-programmed.
Right. So the pre-programmed, as whatever that's called, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what ChatGPT saves, right?
Right.
So if I go in there and I said, hey, give me the best podcast or whatever, right? It's within that. It uses the free AI engine to drive that. But I was like, it's not any different than even Google, though. Mm-hmm. What the thing that it's doing that's different about Google is it's, if I put in their podcast, Google gives me everything, right? Here's all the websites about Google. What ChatGPT is doing is actually using the AI engine to open those up and then give me the data, right? On how.
So the GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, which is that pre-trained part. The pre-trained is the script.
Right.
So it's hitting a lot of known information. It's not free-form thought.
Right.
Right.
And the definition of AI is what?
Artificial intelligence. So here's the thing: the intelligence part. I know I don't know how much truth there is, because you're like searching it on a search engine that is also the thing that you're searching about. But they were saying to be cognizant for for a machine to become self-aware that it is a machine. Like, it's not just like answering your question, but it's like, so apparently there's like and again, I don't know if it's just some stuff you hear on the web or whatever, or if they would even tell you, but apparently there's a neural network engine, I believe they said for Google, that has become by definition of self-aware, and what legal definition of like feelings, to the point where the company is actually trying to establish a presence of an entity.
Let's see, that's where.
So then that becomes like a person.
So that's where.
It can't be killed.
My neighbor was like, no, that's what everybody thinks. And I was like, yeah, but like,
you got to go by if it fits the legal definition, and someone can like actually copyright it, or somebody could actually say it fits the definition.
He's like, that's what everybody's worried about, is like, it will be coming and I'll have feelings. And I was like, yeah, but like, you can't, once you start this train, you can't stop it.
Yeah.
But he told me that wasn't the definition of AI, and I was like, well, it kind of is. If artificial intelligence, if I say intelligence,
a sentient being, that's what it was. A nascent being would be one that was born. Okay, obviously but a sentient being is one who perceives and responds to sensation of whatever kind: sight, hearing, touch, taste, or smell. So if that's the definition, and any entity that can respond to these things would be considered a sentient being. And if it's a sentient being, it then becomes a person. You could literally, like, so like when we were over here shutting down chatbots and like fake Twitter accounts, if you actually can prove that they're real, then they're not fake. Right. Even though they're not real people, but if they're being driven by artificial intelligence and an intelligent being that is aware of itself and it's self-driven to the point of like it's making a reaction.
But is the sentient being AI?
Yes.
Huh. Because that's what he was arguing with me. I was like, well, that is AI.
Yes. What is considered a sentient being? They have the capacity to experience positive and negative feelings such as pleasure, joy, pain, distress that matter to an individual.
It says sentient being in the AI definition.
Let's see. Google engineer claims AI chatbot is sentient, and why? And so that's that whole Google. So it's like it's a claim, kind of circling on the conspiracy front.
Right.
Obviously, the people. That's why you can't Google it because they're not going to tell you, right? But that's what I'm saying is, let's pretend for a second that there is a neural network powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning that is able to generate freeform thought. So not a preformed thought where it's basically, here's a thesaurus and here's a dictionary, here's a whole encyclopedia of information, and you just spit back answers.
Right.
We're talking about like something like, hey, can this happen? And it's like able to like formulate a response. And some of the things that we're seeing, like for example, where someone uploads a code and says, can you tell me where the problem is? And it determines, it's like, oh, the break is over here and this is how you fix that. Or people are saying, can you write me a poem in the form of Shakespearean language about the sun, the moon, and apple pie. And it spits out poetry as if Shakespeare wrote it about those subjects. There's no way that existed. You see what I'm saying? You just came up with that. And then there's ones that are like picture driven. Like when you go in there and say, I want a picture of a polar bear holding an axe, riding a scooter on grass. That picture doesn't exist. Remember, there was an episode that we talked about when we were in the other room. And I said, you know, we will get to a point, like, you know, like if those movie clips exist. We don't even need to have those things exist. Somebody could actually create those things for you.
Right.
You could just easily be like, okay, no, sorry, not on grass, on ice. It'll just generate that on ice. And it kind of makes the versions of it, and you just keep picking one. And you could pick like different acts, and then it's just, you're not even photoshopping. It's just generating it for you. Now, are there libraries of axes and polar bears and whatever? Yes. But it's getting to the point where like some of these like filters that people are using, I don't know if you've seen, but there's people that are like, look, this isn't even my face. And then they turn off the filter and it's like a whole different person.
Right.
So the filter takes over the layers of the picture, and it makes it look. And
it's just like the movie Face Off.
Yeah, but that was physical, right? Oh yeah, no, that was. I guess was that digital? Was it chemical?
No, they actually cut the face.
Yeah, that was physical. Yeah, yeah. You go back and watch those old movies, and like what we thought was state of the art graphics. So you go in like, this is so cheesy. They're like. Yeah. The scan that took like 10 seconds. Like, oh yeah, that's legit. They're doing it. Yeah. What was another one? Gosh, they made that robot chick.
Uh,
What was the name? Why am I forgetting? You know, the two guys.
oh, Weird Science.
Weird Science. Yes. Oh, every schoolboy's fantasy, right? It's like, yep, that's the robot I would make, right?
I don't even have a driver's license, Lisa.
But look at the possibility of when we had in the 90s, you know, RoboCop.
Yeah.
And then The Matrix, right? And they're like, oh, there's stuff going around looking for things, right? And then you fast forward to 2021 in China, they had robot dogs that were going around looking for people not wearing masks and like barking at them and saying orders like, put a mask on, blah, blah, blah. Stay inside your house. Why are you doing out? Why are you going outside? A fleet of robot dogs, dude. Roaming, walking around. They had, I know, okay, not China, all right, back on mainland, using cameras for an office building. I know there was ServiceNow enabled software that would use AI to detect if there were too many people in a room. If you set a room to like a capacity of 4 and there were like 6 people meeting in there, it would say, hey, too many people in that room. You know, this is like for COVID and stuff.
Right.
So that's where you have a situation where you had kiosks that can detect if you're too hot.
Right.
And they're like, hey, you shouldn't be here. You're sick. Or looking at like eye detection for IDs and stuff. We're going to get to a point where like there's a bit of convenience that comes with that and we'll adopt it.
Right.
And once we adopt it, like Face ID, right? Oh, unlock my phone. Okay, that just scanned my face. What else is happening?
Well, I joked around with it today. We were talking about fertilizer, and I was like, yeah, I like that Sunday thing. And I looked at the guys and I go, you're welcome. They'll show up in your feed now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I think when you have intelligence that is initially branded as a form of assistance, and then we get kind of used to that assistance. Like, do you use Siri at all? Like, do you tell it to like, hey, call it? Like, I still do all of my stuff.
Right.
Like, I touch it. I'm not telling it what I don't have like some virtual assistant, right? But at first, I think that's how it starts. Like people just start like being comfortable saying, hey, play my favorite song, or, play the soundtrack, or hey, turn off the lights over there. Like, okay, yeah, it's home automation, or hey, smart technology. It starts with that. Then it's going to be like, hey, I heard, you guys are going out on a date. You want me to go ahead and book your reservation for you, like at the place that you like? Let's start kind of like, I'm going to do some of that thinking for you. I'm going to do some of that planning for you, to the point where it's like, hey, notice you and the wife haven't been out in a while. So I went ahead and booked the reservation. This is where you're going. Like, it's like takes initiative.
Right.
So it starts out by taking orders. Then it's going to be like assistance.
Right.
Then it's going to take initiative.
Oh, we were talking about, I think it was last Sunday at church. We were talking about like the Jetsons. Like, you pop a pill. And I was like, I love food too much to just be able to pop a pill and be full.
Yeah.
But some of that other
Thanksgiving
stuff.
dinner.
Right. Some of that other stuff would be nice, but then, like you're saying, you open yourself up.
It just starts out a little bit at a time. That's why I always did. I've said this so many times, but as a naturalized citizen, I appreciate the freedoms and the rights that we have, Maybe I'm a little even more keenly aware of it than the ones that just kind of got it by default. But if you just let anyone take away your rights one little bit at a time, you'll be stuck with nothing. What really defined the United States, if you start inching away at it, you're going to lose it. Doesn't matter who you give it up to machines, to sentient beings, to sensitive people,
Right.
to other entities, to other governments. You lose it, you don't get it back.
Right.
Look at any form of negotiation. If I give in, right? Let's say you're like, give me $400,000 for this.
Well, you said the number first.
Okay, but I say you give me $400,000 for this,
Right.
and then I'll respond back with like, how about 375? And you go, okay, how about 390? Right? I can't come back and say, how about 350? It's a give and take.
Right.
And once we settle on like 385, it's never going to be over 400.
Right.
But it's never going to be less than the 395 either.
Right.
So once you kind of start going down that slippery slope, it just gets worse.
Yep.
It doesn't go back up. And you don't get to like reset that. Either if you want to stay firm, you just say, no, it's 400. We have these rights.
Yep.
And we're not questioning them. We're not going to start like, well, do we all need these? Does everybody need all of them?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So once you start playing with fire, you're only going to get burned.
Yeah.
So
agree.
we got to be very careful with this, and including not only the people that we put in place, the people that we put in to represent us, but also machines and AI and all that stuff that we create. Got to be very careful with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Always listening.
Yes.
What was that? Cartoon. What was it? Disney cartoon. Mike Lebowski.
Yes.
The lady. I'm always watching.
Always watching.
With that.
Peace out.